So our method is we're over hunting an area until there's nothing left.
People are so surprised that we run a whole business doing what we do.
If I'm not flying him, if I'm not, letting him catch game, he starts getting pissed.
Pigeons, for as dumb as people think they are, they're survivalists. They learn. That's how they survive so well out here.
It's the best method because all other methods that are trying to get rid of these birds are just mimicking what a hawk does.
Fun facts about pigeons. A single pigeon defecates about every 15 minutes or so.
And I say, hey, I fly hawks and falcons for a living. They're like, oh, it's on a string, right? Like, no.
They're surprised that we're allowed to use this equipment. No one wants to walk in crap, and it doesn't matter what animal it is.
My name is Bladen Benson, and I'm the owner of Desert Kings Falconry. Let's see how he does tonight. He was here the other night, did pretty good. This is Luca. Luca's gonna be joining us tonight, catching some pigeons for a client of ours that we got out here. We're gonna be clearing pigeons off the sides of these buildings for this apartment complex. So we're about to see here coming up how bad it can get and what we look for. There he goes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a trade for him. Otherwise he's gonna sit here all night and try to eat that thing. So I gotta make a trade and show him, hey, let's keep going. So we have to train these guys to follow the light, and surprisingly, the hardest thing to do is train a hawk to look up, because why would they be looking up? There's no need to look up. So when we come out here, we first start these guys, it's all about trying to get them to just look up at their prey, which is unbelievably hard at first. So he's gonna snack down on this little piece I got for him, and he'll let me know when he's ready. All right, I'm gonna click on right now. Ho, 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 get it. Attaboy, attaboy. So we use trained hawks and falcons to scare, deter, catch, or relocate certain species of wildlife here in Arizona, mainly pigeons. It's needed because it works. It's needed because they're in places where humans are, and they cause health hazards, they cause damage to property. And although we do love a lot of wildlife out here, there's always a time and a place for it. So we try to get them out of the way of people, put them back where they need to be, and clean up these properties and kind of increase property values and the health of a lot of the people out here. Pigeons, starlings, collared dove, they don't migrate. They just stay in one place. And what they actually do is they take the food sources and the nesting spaces from our native wildlife. Some of our native wildlife are mourning doves, woodpeckers, roadrunners, Harris hawks, red-tailed hawks. So to remove those invasive species, especially for things like mourning dove, it gives them more space, more food to eat, more room to grow. You guys can see the damage they cause right here. It's like, for instance, there's a kid playing, like they have kids right here. So, oh gosh, look at this, come here. See all that? And then they got kids' toys right here too. So they're crapping all over that stuff. And the railings and the sidewalk right here, you see that? So I'm gonna go up one flight of stairs and I'm gonna hopefully catch that white one right there, okay? Good boy. Good boy. They're going back for meat processing, basically. So they're gonna go in our freezers, sit in our freezers for about 30 days, killing parasites that are on them. And then if we have too many, which right now we have too many pigeons, so I can't fit them all in my freezer, we just donate them to Arizona Raptor Center, where they just feed all their injured wildlife and rehabilitate them. So they get free food, we just give it to them. There's no sense in trying to charge anybody for it. The Harris hawk is the most versatile bird used in falconry. I used to dislike them because they were so easy. And then you realize, I can fly this bird in crowds of people. I can fly this bird around kids, dogs. I can fly this bird out of moving cars going 30 miles an hour or golf carts on a golf course. The bird will do anything and everything you ask as long as you have faith in that bird and that bird trusts you. Other birds will quite literally die of stress. One of the jobs as a falconer or an abatement handler is when they catch an animal like a starling or a pigeon, they will try to eat that animal alive, the hawk will. Alive. They'll eat with the legs first because that's, they take control of the head and the body, and what's sticking up at them, their feet. They will eat the legs of these animals off. The job of the abatement falconer or the falconer is to go up and dispatch that animal so it's no longer feeling pain. We're helping. We're in there making sure it's as humane as possible. We're teaching these young hawks who are wild caught to survive better than they would in the wild. So that would be the biggest objection. Hey, why are you hunting? Why are you killing? This is life, this is nature. It's not pretty. I mean, the truth is thrown at you in the face. You wanna go watch a hawk go catch a rabbit? Get ready for a little bit of blood and some gore. That's how it is with these birds.
Go on, bud. Now he's like, wait a minute. So the goal is to scare off grackles. We're not intentionally catching grackles, but it happens on occasion. But we want Luca to chase them. But when it comes to species such as Eurasian doves, Eurasian ring-necked doves, pigeons, and starlings, we can catch as many of them with intent as many times as we want, as often as we want. And it's because they're invasive species. They're species here that put a lot of pressure on native wildlife. And not only are they putting a lot of pressure on native wildlife, they're also putting a lot of pressure on people.
People don't see birds of prey up close. It's cinematic for people that, who live inside nowadays on their phone all day. Wow, I can see this bird up close, and they see us in public with it. They're just like, oh, are you a petting zoo? Like, what are you doing, a show? It's like, no, this is a working animal who makes money and a living for us, removing pest animals from properties, and they're just blown away by it. People don't believe that we can take these creatures and offer them a safe place with food, with shelter, with water, and they want to keep coming back. I mean, why would you want to leave that, right? So that throws people a lot of time. And I say, hey, I fly hawks and falcons for a living. Oh, they're like, oh, it's on a string, right? Like, no, it's free to do what it wants as long as, we have a communication and understanding to work with each other.
A lot of people ask, how do we keep track of the bird? I mean, nothing really stops the bird from flying off, but I do have a GPS. If he flies off, lands under a bush or something like that, and I can't see him or don't know where he flew off to, maybe he just goes to the other side of the course. It just helps me quickly look on my phone, see where he's at, and then I can just go chase after him and collect him. If I stayed in like the same spot for a while, he would eventually come back and find me, which he's done before. But when we're working out in an area, we need to kind of try to stay in that area. So if he flies off, I'm gonna go get him and then bring him back. Where if I was in a bit more of like a falconry setting, just out walking around, I might prefer to just wait to let him come to me instead. So it kind of all depends on situations and stuff like that. I'm never actually worried about losing this bird. It just allows me to get him back to work a little bit faster. That's really the main purpose of the GPS.
If you go into some places that we go to for work, it's pretty disgusting. And I mean, they'll live in conditions where you're like, I don't even know how you're raising young. I mean, sometimes they'll lay eggs, the eggs will hatch, and because of where they put them, they'll just accidentally knock their young off the side. So you'll just find their young on the sidewalk, or a young will die and they'll just lay eggs on top of that dead young and keep going. They are gross creatures in a sense, especially when they're introduced to a human food source. They'll dumpster dive in grease bins. They'll eat foods they're not supposed to, which makes them sick. So rats with wings, it's a very accurate description. We've been to some places where there's stalagmite of pigeon crap, this tall. And it's so bad, we actually have to wear hazmat suits to go in there. But once we remove them, it's beautiful. The area looks great.
So these are one of those really bad extreme cases. We don't get too many of these. The average solar panel customer has anywhere between 15 to 30 pigeons, and we can usually just clear them out. So we still have a couple of pigeons that are underneath it. So you can see here they've had some solar panels done before, but these weren't done correctly. They didn't secure them into the actual solar panels, so now they're falling off. Pigeons can get back underneath. So that's where Just using a simple CO2 pistol is great, especially this close. The main air cannons won't do anything from the ground or at any significant range, but it's enough to euthanize the pigeon. Check this side, you can see there's still some pigeons under here. There's a ton of them under here. This is a problem that they try to fix, but they didn't offer any type of trapping program, which is the traditional response. When you do solar panels and they're this bad, you have to remove the pigeons one way or another, otherwise they'll still be here. A lot of pest control companies will allegedly propose that they catch and release, but even if you release these pigeons in, say, New Mexico or even in Texas, you're talking about a bird that can do well over highway speeds at a cruising altitude, you know, several thousand feet. So most likely the pigeon will beat you back home. Judging by all the feces accumulation and all the whitewash staining, we're dealing with a large pigeon population. And because they're so persistent and this exclusion wasn't done right, it's just, eventually it's gonna pop out and the pigeons are gonna get back underneath again.
Air cannons are not firearms. They're just a BB gun with using air. Instead of a spring, they're using air. It's a very safe and easily used piece of equipment for pigeon control, what we use out here. So in situations where I take a hawk and it's too dangerous to go fly that hawk in this area, there's too many cars. We do a lot of high-rise buildings in Phoenix, and so that's 50, 60 stories up. I mean, a hawk, as much as you think they can fly with their prey, they don't. They fall. Falling 50, 60 stories, that's a long ways down. So I have to sit there and go, okay, what's safe for my animals? What's safe for my handlers? Because my number one's the handlers, and then my number two are the birds. I've had birds get stuck underneath AC units because they blocked off the bottom of the AC unit with netting or fencing, and now my bird's stuck up on a roof. It's 105 out. I gotta get up on that roof, and I gotta get that stressed out bird from underneath whatever it's caught on. I mean, that's a death sentence. We've actually lost a couple of birds that way. So that's where a pneumatic air rifle comes in, where we can safely, effectively, and very quietly remove these animals.
I've taken lethal shots with it 75 yards out, no problem. And this is just a standard powered air gun. It uses compressed air in a carbon fiber tank. So we fill this up. This holds about up to 36,000 PSI of air pressure. And then we can actually control the power through this little knob.
All the other forms of bird removal mimic hawks, or they don't take an active approach. They're baiting birds to the property, more birds that should not even be there at all, just to trap them, and then the birds get smart. Pigeons, for as dumb as people think they are, they're survivalists. They learn. That's how they survive so well out here. So with our approach, we get them out then and there. And we can clear property in probably 4 or 5 weeks, just about. I mean, to the point where my guys are so bored at these properties, they're like, there's nothing to do here. We've already cleared out all these birds. So our method is we're over hunting an area until there's nothing left. And humans are really good at that. So we just capitalized on that, and now we're doing it for pigeons. The transformation is drastic. I mean, for example, we work a property in Levine, it's called Riverwalk. There's 600 plus homes. We removed, I think, 2,800 pigeons total in the course of 6 months. The drastic change to that property was insane. There was no more poop. There was no more piles of pigeon crap along the sides. People's cars were clean. I mean, we physically made the property value go up. Arizona's a huge solar panel state. They got tons of them. Pigeons love solar panels. So for some of these jobs, you'll go on top of these solar panels, they're completely covered in poop. So someone's paying a lease on those solar panels and at the same time trying to save energy, but they're not. They're not even getting close to what they would be if they were clean. We go in there, clear those pigeons out. You're looking at properties that are clear for a year, almost 2 years. And then you'll start to see a slight trickle of birds back. And then that's when we jump back in and make sure that stops right away. I always tell people it's really easy to start a company, but to keep a company going is the hard part. You gotta work those long hours and you gotta sacrifice. How I get started, how you get started or owning a business, it's just the drive. You gotta keep going. It's hard, it's not easy.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy our documentaries as much as we enjoy making them. Unfortunately, many of our videos don't earn enough YouTube revenue to afford the cost of production. But if you like our content, the best thing you can do is directly support it on Patreon. Plus, you'll get access to behind-the-scenes vlogs and commentary. If you're looking for something more in return, go to paragraphic.io where you can buy our other products and services. Alternatively, you can shop our Amazon storefront for our favorite equipment recommendations. Also, check out Boca, where you can find beneficial supplements to optimize your productivity. We especially love the lion's mane and mushroom gummies. And finally, consider signing up to Multitude, a platform built for long-form content, where you and other content creators can share and monetize new videos every week.